Hello there and welcome to 6 Minutes to Success. I was reading this little book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's a classic. Now, I've had it, not this particular copy, but I was given a copy by a man in Louisville, Kentucky back in 1978. I have never stopped reading it. I found it a fascinating little book. It is probably one of the most valuable books I've got. James Allen was a great Victorian author who wrote a number of books, I think 18 in all, but As a Man Thinketh was one of them. It's a small book, but it'll provide your mind with a lot to think about. I was reading something here that a lot of people do not understand. If you manage people, or if you are working with people, this is something to seriously consider. Now keep this in mind. The book was written in 1903, so when I use the term as a man thinketh, it's strictly in a generic sense. He said, a strong man cannot help a weaker unless the weaker is willing to be helped. And even then, the weak man must become strong of himself. He must, by his own efforts, develop the strength which he admires in another. None but himself can alter his condition. You know, I've known all kinds of great people, including managers, who wind themselves down trying to wind somebody else up. You cannot do that. I think Huxley put it very well when he said, the only corner of the universe that you can be certain of improving is your own self. Now, when you're trying to change other people, you're fighting a losing battle. First of all, they have to want it. Second, they have to do it by themselves. I like what Martin Root said. You've got to do it by yourself, and you can't do it alone. It sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but it's really not. We've got to get other people to help us, but they can't do it for us. They've got to keep that in mind. I want you to stop and think for 4 or 5 minutes about people you're working with, or maybe someone that's working with you. Somebody may be trying to change you, or you may be trying to change somebody else. It's a foolish, nearly impossible game. A strong man cannot help a weaker unless the weaker is willing to be helped. And even then, the weak man must become strong of himself. You've got to develop the strength that you admire in another. It's a good lesson, isn't it? Think about it for the next 4 or 5 minutes. Really tune into this. And if you haven't got the book, get it. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Tiny little book, but it is loaded with wisdom. This is Bob Proctor with Results That Stick.